Hi guys, welcome back to Thor's Moto Talk, and today we're going to learn how to do I guess something that I personally really love, and that would be wheelies. Now I can go into how to do different kinds of wheelies, stuff like that, but I just feel like once you learn how to do one wheelie, everything else is kind of the same until you decide you're going to progress into like a circle wheelie, which is kind of different. And I'll do a video on that another day. But how do you wheelie? The first thing is get comfortable in whatever riding position you want to be in, whether it's sit down or maybe you want to go to knee knocker, or, and I don't really like knee knocker, or maybe you want to do staggered. I could do knee knocker, but I don't ever pop it up in knee knocker just because I don't really like it and whatever. But so staggered is staggered is 1 foot on your sub cage or your back passenger peg. This is a Grom, so staggered's kind of goofy. On this, it's back there, but most your bigger bikes is going to be the back passenger peg or your sub cage, depending on what, if you have a cage on it or not, or a sub cage on it. Sit down is obviously in the sitting position, and then knee knocker is 1 foot on there and then over like this. And knee knocker. So get comfortable, and if you feel like you're fatiguing or you're not doing great in one position, let's say sit downs, because sit downs are going to be a little bit farther back, you're going to feel farther back, you got a lot more weight forward on the bike, versus if you're back here knee knocker, see how you get your weight back there, or if you're in staggered, you're even farther back. And then so you got to be farther forward on the bike, your bike has to be farther back, and also when you're sitting up like this, you're in your neutral position. When you're a knee knocker, you're kind of hunched over it, same thing in staggered. So when you do wind up popping a wheelie and sit down, you got to be back. When you're a knee knocker or you're in staggered, you wind up in an upright position, so it feels more natural. So if you want to, definitely get comfortable in knee knocker, staggered, something like that, but always be able to cover your rear brake. And if you have a handbrake, I guess you can cover that too, which would be covered. But we're gonna just focus on foot brake today, because unless you have a stunt bike or you've bought the parts, you don't have a handbrake, or scooters can have handbrakes. You're comfortable in your position, ride around, make sure you're comfortable in that position, because when you come down, you need to be comfortable in whatever position you're in. The next thing is, let's say we're in sit down and you want to kind of bounce it, and I was able to pick it up with just a little gas and some bounce. All right, now you should get used to timing that right, and then what you want to do after you get that timed right, and I'm not going to go over that in great detail, you can practice just bouncing it, and in some positions you can see, like staggered, you can pull it up, you get comfortable timing it, and then using your clutch, right? But get comfortable bouncing with gas, and then you want to start throwing in, now this is personally what I'm going to teach you. Some people are going to say just go right into clutch ups, and you, if you want to, just go right into clutch ups. And if you're on a bigger bike, you don't need to bounce, but for me personally, it's not about needing to bounce, because I don't need to bounce on the Grom. It's about transferring from the two-wheel to the one-wheel position comfortably. So that's why I like to bounce more than using the weight. Now if I'm in a higher gear on the ground, like second, third, yeah, we need to bounce. We need the help. But big bikes, you don't need to, but it still helps you transition from one position to the next. So I'm gonna suggest bouncing. And then clutch up. So you want to make sure that you completely drop the clutch, right? If you like, and then you're like right there and it's engaging, but you haven't completely dropped it, you might not get the pop-up that you're wanting, and it might feel like your clutch is slipping or something. You got to make sure you're fully disengaged. I was able to do staggered and double back peg wheelies. I could do some pretty terrible circle wheelies, but I wasn't able to sit down wheelie. And when I started doing like sit down wheelies, I really struggled on getting it up. And the biggest thing was because I was slipping the clutch too much. So make sure you completely drop that clutch. And that will help you. And then you got to just work on your timing with your gas to get it up. And once you start getting it up about that high, foot off the ground, you're going to want to start mixing in rear brake. You're going to start tapping your rear brake to bring it down. Now, if you're before balance point, the rear brake is going to feel very, very, very aggressive. And if you're too far behind balance point, the rear brake is not going to feel aggressive enough. So until you start getting comfortable at balance point, you're going to have a very aggressive rear brake feel. Some people are going to say don't chase them out, but I don't see the problem with chasing them out. Chase them out a little bit, but a little bit. Let's not try to get in the habit of just chasing. Let's not just chase forever. Let's chase a little bit, get comfortable, because if you do chase a little bit, you kind of get comfortable getting it, then you're like, all right, I need to go higher and higher and higher. You'll get to this weird spot where, and don't get in the habit of cutting throttle until you, I guess you can cut throttle, I don't care. It's going to slow you down, but it's a natural reaction. Try not to until you hit balance point, and then obviously you have to let off throttle at a certain point, because you can't maintain the same throttle going up as you are when you add a wheelie. So you have to let go of some throttle, and then it's just minor adjustments. Kind of tap the brake. Sometimes you might tap a little harder, especially when you're learning. You're gonna tap a little harder. You're gonna have to give it a little more gas. You have to let off a little gas, stuff like that. Work with your brakes, stuff like, and you're probably gonna be giving it gas while hitting the brake, and you're gonna be fighting each other, brake raping and all this stuff at the beginning. They're gonna look just absolutely terrible. And I haven't staggered in a long time. That's the position I learned in. But you know, you're gonna just do a lot, and you're gonna hit this point. Hopefully you hit this point. This is a very key learning spot, is like right here. I never once hit the brake, but you can see I was able to keep pulling it back up, right? So once you start hitting that spot where you're able to start pulling it back up, obviously kind of use your brakes, but brake, 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 right? So, and you can obviously see my hand, and I was using foot brake, and I said every time I use brake, but you can also kind of get like right here. And I was constantly picking up speed, but I never hit the brake, right? So there's engine braking. So learning how to balance between engine brake and brake is key. All right. So if I would have gave it a little more gas and tapped it into balance point, then I'd hit the brake, 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 brake. You see how I'm not picking up speed now? So when you get to that point where you're kind of picking up speed, and when I wasn't tapping the brake, but I was still picking up speed, you can still tap the brake, and you might have to give it more gas to maintain it, but it'll start giving you that idea of what it feels like to be in a wheelie. Should be able to do nice, slow wheelies at some point. Right, guys? I'm doing, you know, somewhere between 5 and 7 miles an hour. Right? Nice slow wheelie, stuff like that. Really getting dialed in. But eventually, hopefully that's where you get. Well, that's what really balance point looks like, is that slow maneuver between gas, brake. Yeah, and obviously there's like idle and coaster and stuff like that, and those are more advanced, but you should be able to eventually get to them nice slow wheelies if you keep practicing at it, hitting balance point. If you start dropping below or behind balance point, give it a little more brake, it'll actually slow you down. Yeah, and balance point, what does it feel like? I guess a lot of people, they describe it as this weightless feeling. Now, as a beginner rider, not a beginner rider, but a beginner at learning how to wheelie, you're not gonna get it that high. Sorry, I popped it right up into like balance point. It's not a weightless feeling, because when you get up about that high, you're gonna feel weightless for the first time. You're just gonna be like, oh man, I was weightless. And what you were you just throwing off your balance, right? You're throwing off your balance, you felt weightless, you really didn't know what to do, right? And then you're gonna get into this, and you're gonna feel weightless, right? You're gonna feel weightless, and that's right before balance point. As a beginner, that's what that feels like, because you are now at your natural standing position. That's gonna feel weightless. You're gonna feel like you're falling, but the bike is gonna feel weightless, and that's what you want to do, is to feel like you're falling, but the bike is weightless. And that's the best description I can give you as a beginner, is to feel like you're slightly falling. It's not, you'll get used to the feeling and it will feel weightless. It'll be that feeling before falling, but as a beginner, you'll feel like you're falling. And that's what you're going for. I really hope this helped. I hope I didn't miss anything. If you have any questions, comments, anything, just drop it down in there. You know, sit down here. I'm gonna do like a sit down wheelie for you, so you can see like you should be almost looking through the tank in a sit down when you're at balance point. Too many stand-ups. You see how I really looking through the tank, looking through my arm, like that's balance point right there, guys. Like, I don't know, that's what you're going for in a sit down. Sit down does require more gas to pop it up because again your weight is farther forward. Also, being farther forward, you do have to be farther back. The biggest thing is, I guess, relax, use your rear brake, tap it, I guess, a few times before you do decide you want to. Make sure it bogs that engine down. That's good. That's good. That means it works, right? My rear brake works. It killed the bike. You want that? I guess I'm gonna see if I can shred anything. You know, a lot of straight line stuff. Let's see if I can do a Ralph Lauren circle, and I don't know. Let's just shred a little bit. Maybe you guys will enjoy that. So again, very, very tall. Very important. Here we go. Right there. Little bit of gas. Moving the foot as I feel comfortable in a Ralph Lauren. So I'm kind of trying to learn Ralph Lauren circles. There you go. I guess. And hop down.